All right, welcome everybody. Kevin Byrne, your Putnam County Executive. I just wanted to first extend my thanks to everybody for showing up in their evening for this town hall forum, just to set expectations and make sure that we're accessible to answer any questions that you may have about this major project that's going to be in the heart of the hamlet of Carmel. I want to make sure, so we know who's speaking, that I acknowledge some of our department heads and representative stakeholders that are here. We have our Commissioner of DPW, Tommy Fury, our Deputy Commissioner, Joe Bellucci. We have Brian Hildebrand, who's a Supervisor of Planning and Design. Zen Walczyk, Federally Funded Program Manager. Gary Redlon is a Coordinator of Engineering Projects. We also have Brian Whitten, who's a Supervisor of Maintenance and Construction. The construction team, our contractors, we have Tony Mastrangelo from GNFIA, he's a project manager and Putnam County resident. Hans Priebe from Creighton Manning Construction, he's the inspection manager. On the utility side, because this obviously involves many other stakeholders as well, we have John Sprague from Verizon, Senior Engineering Specialist. Rob McDonough from NYSEG, Senior Manager of Regional Operations. Fidel Millen, Comcast Project Coordinator. I'm not sure if we have anyone here right now, but we're expecting some representatives from Town of Carmel Water and Sewer, Town of Carmel Town Engineer Rich Vanzetti may be here as well. And also, one of the biggest stakeholders here is the Carmel Central School District. On behalf of the school superintendent, we have Alberto Venznia. So I want to thank you for being here, and I appreciate everyone taking out the time for this important forum. I also want to just start by sharing that that camera right over there is recording this forum so that our neighbors and other Putnam residents who want to watch this at another time will be given the opportunity to do so. It's not being live streamed, but it will be uploaded to the county's YouTube channel on putnamcountyny.gov, so you can go there as well. A couple of housekeeping ground rules as we move forward with the forum. There are these question cards that are up at the top of the table. Chris Formisano, our communications director for the county, has them as well. So as the forum continues and you have questions, what we're going to ask is that you write down your questions, your name, and be our best to be respectful. What we will do is we will then try to collect these cards and call on you so you can then ask your question and then we will answer it. It's just a way that we can try to cut down on some of repetitive questions, if you will, and get through as many as possible. That will go through after I finish some of my remarks, and we'll hear from our Commissioner of DPW, Tommy Fury. I also wanted to make sure I recognized Tony from GNFIA, the corporation, the low bidder for this contract. GNFIA brings a wealth of expertise to the table, and their team has assured us they are committed to delivering what is known to be quality work while doing their level best to keep things on schedule. I think it's important as we introduce this topic, this project, is to go through a little bit of a timeline to break down the chronology because it really goes back over 30 years. Discussions about this project date back to the early 1990s. Kind of wild when you think about it. The initial contract for engineering was executed in 1998. However, progress in preparing a design report was slow. A 2006 public information meeting was held. Among some of the alternatives, there was presented 17 houses that could be taken to improve road alignment. It was met with significant public opposition. And in 2008, 10 years after the initial project, a design report was still not approved. The 10-year authorization for preliminary design expired. The county had requested a 10-year extension, which was denied by the Federal Highway Administration, and this led to the project losing its federal funding. The county had been partially reimbursed for work completed, but was actually at that time, or actually a little bit later, in 2014, required to return over $350,000 to the New York State Department of Transportation. After discussions with the DOT, the project was rescoped and restarted in 2017. A public hearing was held in 2019, A design report was then approved in 2021. In June of 2021, a virtual public hearing was held outlining the need to utilize eminent domain. And then in August of 2021, detailed design was approved by DOT. DEP then required additional soil borings and design modifications, delaying advertisement of the project. The project was actually advertised in April of this year. Bids were opened in June of this year, and the contract for construction was finalized in August 2024 with a notice to proceed issued to Gene Fia September of 2024. I think Tommy's going to talk about some of the funding, but for those, everyone here being taxpayers, interested in how much this costs and what's it going to affect the bottom line in the county government and our budget, design costs are entirely county funded. Our current expenditure on this design is approximately $1.23 million. The current right-of-way acquisition, which includes eminent domain expenditure, is about $1.8 million, with a little more required. If we were to stop the project and not build, we would be then required to reimburse the federal and state government about $1.7 million. Right-of-way construction costs are reimbursable. 80% federal, 15% state, 5% county is the share of the cost. The low bidder, Gene Fia, received the job with the cost projected at $21.9 million. It's the construction costs. And when you add up the total cost, that's design, property acquisition, inspection, construction, we're looking at just over close to $30 million, which is the most expensive capital project in Putnam County's history. Now, I'm not going to stand here and pretend that this project is not going to be disruptive. Anyone that tells you that's is going to lie to you. We know it's going to be. This project is near our schools, our post office, our county jail, courthouse, our county government building, my office, and a lot more. But it is essential for public safety, and it is essential to make sure that this road is sound for future generations. At its core, this project is about more than just road work. It is about maintaining the quality of life in Putnam County and ensuring our infrastructure meets the standards our residents deserve. We are here to answer your questions, hear your concerns, and continue to work together to achieve the best possible outcome for Fair Street and our community as a whole. Now, I know there's going to be questions. I'm going to start by turning this over to Tom Fury, our Commissioner of the Department of Public Works.
Sure.
Thank you, Tom.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming and a couple of familiar faces. Yeah, I got a second person up, kind of rips up their notes, right? So this did start. There's a huge history here, and there's a bunch. I know I see John's here. Carmel graduates, and this road has deteriorated over the years, so badly so. We've put Band-Aids on it for years. It really blew up in our face last year after that storm in July, and actually I give Brian Whitten some credit because he's got an eye for sinkholes, and we were just lucky that when it happened, school wasn't in session, and it was over 40 truckloads of material, probably almost 300 feet of pipe installed, and then paved afterwards. So the need on this road is obviously there. Most of the lanes are 10 feet, 11 feet wide. Obviously no space for motorists and bicyclists together. The culverts have just about failed, so this couldn't come at a better time right now. The job obviously it's a mile and a half, essentially, pretty much from Simpson to 52. That small July date, it cost us about $150,000 in manpower and material for that, and working overnight just so nobody drove into a sinkhole that following day. We couldn't be happier to have Gene Fia. We worked with Gene Fia over on Fairfield Drive in Putt Lake 2 years ago, and did a great job for us. They actually owe us one last bill. So starting on September 5th, it was very important to get the utility part of it coordinated. That's the hardest part of this job, was coordinating the multiple different utility companies including water and sewer with the town of Carmel. And I can't say enough about the utility companies. We're actually in a much better place. Not only is the road going to be better, but your infrastructure to that road is going to be much better. Some of the improvements that you're going to see now, when it gets to utilities, Rob McDonough is here from NYSEG. They've hardened this area. I think the last time, it was probably 2018 when the tornadoes came through, NYSEG really concentrated on putting a taller, stronger pole. They also did an awful lot of forestry management, which was incredible. We kind of did it together with our forestry, our tree people, and if you've noticed, you haven't run out of power. I mean, I lived here. We ran out of power all the time. I was on Stoneleigh, right next to the hospital, and we were out all the time. I can't even remember the last time we were out. Not only is it hardened, but the recovery time is so much faster because of the work they've done. So that's been a great improvement already. So now it's kind of two-phase utility part here. So you're going to have above ground first, and then you have below ground. So right now the above ground, as far as utility placement, pole placement is done. We're going to have new street lights from Vink up further. The utilities will go underground from Vink to 52, as will the street lights. Sidewalk will be from Hillendale all the way up to 52 also. And like I said before, you're going to have 14-foot lanes now each way. So you're going to have room for bicyclists and motorists on the same roadway, which is phenomenal. And 4-foot to 5-foot sidewalks, depending on exactly where it is. There's going to be new culverts and retention ponds. You've probably seen that access road that's going to the retention pond area. That's part of the whole water system that we're now required by DEP and the state to do and to manage. One of the other, and with that, you've got new power lines, you've got new utilities, so you will have some fiber optic. You know, your upgrades for that whole line are going to be improved, which you will notice. Some of the status right now, where we're at, well, obviously you see we've already started, and GMFIA really came in and hit the ground running. Both the homes that were taken for part of the project, they've both been removed safely and gone. GMFIA is fully mobilized. The tree cutting for utility relocation and construction have been completed. The access stormwater to the treatment, for the stormwater treatment basin is almost complete. There's some there's some landscaping parts that have a requirement for DEP that'll have to be done next year, but as far as, you know, right now it's in place. I know NYSEG's primary poles are set all the way to John Simpson, and then the jump pole I think was done yesterday or the day before, right? And now Crown Castle and Comcast are currently working on transferring their lines to the new poles. And Verizon's here also, John, and Verizon, they should be starting next week, I believe. And they'll take their lines, and then they get the prize of being the last one on the pole. They get to take the poles with them when they're done, so thank you, John. And then before we start the Q&A, that's kind of like a 1,000-foot look at it. And the county executive said it's important for everybody to realize, like, we're also neighbors on this road, so it's really important for us to be good neighbors and to get the job done. I've cursed myself out a couple of times, like, I didn't go to detour, because you're so used to going the same way. So, if you can, a couple of things that'll help us. If you can avoid the area as much as possible. This past 2 months was a little more difficult because you had 3 different utilities on the road at the same time. But it had to be done. So, we didn't get delayed going into the winter. That would have been, really rough for us. We have no idea what the winter's going to bring. Give yourself more time. Slowing down the construction zone is really important. There's 2 ladies actually that do a great job. It couldn't be nicer. And we've had a few people say a few unnice Gaelic words to them. So if we can be patient, and then just obey the flaggers. You know, we unfortunately had a Jacob Cara, he's a highway guy in Yorktown, was killed a year and a half ago. And it's probably the most dangerous job on the road is the flagger. So we do ask everybody, and Carmel High School being here, you know, the most inexperienced drivers are coming out of school, you know, if you could pass that message on, we'd appreciate it. Please don't stop to ask questions in the work zone. If you do have a question, we're 842 Fair Street. We have, as you see, our team is here. If we can't answer immediately, we'll get an answer for you. But we'd rather answer the questions than the guys in the work zone, the girls in the work zone, because they might, you know, they're working, and it's not a safe place to stop. It's not a safe place to talk. It's a construction area. Even when, it's very important to remember, even when you don't see flaggers in that zone, that whole mile and a half, for all intents and purposes, is a construction zone. So you'll see there's been structures placed from Simpson to Hill and Dale. Those structures have steel plates on them. If you've got a low, you know, a car low to the ground, you know, you can't go fast across them. You're going to do damage to your own car. So understand that even though there might not be a flagger or cones in that spot, the whole zone is deemed a construction zone. And we are 8 to 4. Okay. We also have a website. We're on Putnam County Online. Go to DPW. It will give you updates on all our construction projects going on right now. It's a great resource. On the larger projects, we usually say, because it's just not reasonable to have more than, you know, bi-monthly updates. We do update it weekly, but it's really, we stick to the bi-monthly because we can't put that on the contractor. Some of our smaller projects, if it's one lane closure or something like that, we might not even put that on the website, you know, unless we know we're shutting down a road or something. But we probably have, what, the 12 items on there now? At least, there's at least 12 different construction projects. So if you look into, why is this job, you'll find instant access to our project, what the timeline's on it, and when we expect to have it open and finished. I know the people down in Putnam Valley are very happy with it because they're getting updates pretty much in real time when things are happening. And we've actually had a great relationship with the school down there too, because that's been, you probably read about it in the paper, but it's been somewhat of a nightmare. It's working out great, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I think we're going to have that last bridge open before the holidays, so which is great for people down there. Again, thank you all. We'll take the questions, and then I'll try and point to who might be the best to answer it. So
we can do this as we can call on if you want to ask a question. If you can make this out. So we've got John.
John Grana.
Some of these questions may.
John's a Carmel High School guy that still has a comb in his back pocket. John, would you like to?
Yeah, Tom, thank you.
I got it.
Thank you, Tom, Kevin. Very happy to see this project finally coming to fruition. It has been a long time. There is a drainage issue emanating from 15 Fair Street. Their rear parking lot has a drain that goes underground, and it exits right in between 17 and 15 Fair Street, a rectangular junction box. It's been overflowing for years. I don't know what the issue is with the tie-in, but in the wintertime it becomes a liability hazard. It becomes a sheet of ice on the sidewalk, very hard to maintain. So I just was hoping for some information as to, or confirmation that will be tied into the new county, you know, Fair Street drain to prevent that from happening going forward.
Is Zen Wilczyk from our department?
Right. Mr. Grana, yeah, you've had a chronic problem.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. I'll try. Oh, it's even better. Good, okay. So, Mr. Grana, you've had a chronic problem out there, I know, because of the paving of the parking lots in the back and the water comes rushing by. We haven't been able to fix it because there's something wrong with the drainage there. we're getting rid of that drainage. So there won't be anything wrong with it once we're done. It's gonna be new drainage, it should be working, for all the design conditions that we normally have for drainage. So give us I think it's gonna be about a year and a half before we get up to you.
So the answer there is, we're hoping that next summer when school's out, that was what we'll tackle up there. The sidewalks with Town of Carmel now, we can ask them to you know, to help out or something there, for the time being. Again, it's a temporary fix, but that's all it is. As far as, you know, fingers crossed, we're there next summer, that'll be taken care of next summer. So, again, we're trying to do that in coordination with the school, because that's gonna be probably the most disruptive part, is Mink to, not probably, it's gonna be the most disruptive part, from Mink to 52.
So we have another question from Karen Margolis. It's, are there going to be sidewalks? And if I'm reading this correctly, is there new development on Fair Street? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I'll try.
Ethan, yes.
Talk it loud.
You're Mr. Margolis.
You answered the sidewalk question. On the back of that sidewalk question, are we as homeowners responsible for shoveling the sidewalks when they're there? Are we responsible for the upkeep of those sidewalks? That's the first question.
Yeah, so I won't speak for the Town of Carmel, but that is their ordinance.
I mean, we're getting a sidewalk whether we want one or not. We don't, but that's neither here nor there. Are we responsible as homeowners for the upkeep of that? And that's the question. That's my number one question.
I mean, that's I think
We
that's state
are.
law too.
Yeah.
We don't
So
want it,
that's
we don't want it.
a major concern. My second question there was related to the construction that's going on with new homes being built, and it looks like there's gonna be exiting on Fair Street. Is that correct or incorrect?
Oh, that's the, no, that's the, Toll Brothers?
Centennial.
Yes, the Toll Brothers, Centennial Toll Brothers. I believe, don't quote me, I believe that's only an emergency entrance, exit out of that property. It's not gonna be an actual roadway.
No, it's a
So
Toll
is the
Brothers
main-
project at Fair Street and Simpson on Centennial Golf Course.
Yeah, that's the same, I believe.
Thank you, yeah, exactly.
That's the,
No, that's a different,
Oh, there's several projects?
it's a different
There's
one.
two, there's one on Centennial Golf Course.
Yep.
In the backside, Route 26, and we're hoping to do another one right there in the swampy area, which is Simpson Road and Fair Street. So there's two projects going on. I'm the town historian, that's the only reason why I know this, because I live right there. But those are the two projects that are happening, but everything hasn't been approved yet, and it keeps on changing hands. Now the Toll Brothers owns it, but before that, it was somebody else.
Right, so there really isn't an answer yet, but I believe the one that's being developed now is not gonna exit onto Fair Street. That's only a fire,
Right.
Only Route 6.
emergency only,
Yeah,
right,
only
right.
Route 6.
That's Route 6, yeah.
Um,
And we can't speak for the other one until it
I
goes
put
through
it
the planning
in
board.
regard, so I'll just hit them all at once and get done with it. Hillendale, and where Hillendale and Fair Street live, we live very close to that. There's an accident there at least once a month. The question is there going to be a light placed there?
Not at this time.
That's a
On the sidewalk,
mistake.
That's more dangerous.
That's really needed there. They definitely need a traffic light there. Because there are multiple accidents and with kids walking,
Yeah,
it's just
there
a
was-
death trap.
I grew up over there too, so there was no, in all the iterations, there was never a traffic light in this project, so.
We're doing improvements.
You're asking, we're telling you what
Yeah.
we're concerned
Yeah.
about, and that's a biggie.
Yep.
It's a safety issue.
Yep,
and it's-
we have applied for funding for upgrades of traffic lights and sidewalks in other areas. That's something that we'd have to put into that package.
Something to consider moving forward. This doesn't
Right,
preclude us from
it-
making, this doesn't preclude us from making other
Right.
changes in the future.
It just wasn't in the plan.
That's a no.
We didn't fill out a card
Not
there.
currently. The answer is not, the answer is not currently. It doesn't preclude additional changes in the future. So that's why we're here
I
listening.
mean, I'll just state clearly, we're being really put out in a lot of ways through this construction, and we fully understand, and at least we understand the need for it. But it would be really nice if some things happen for us as residents that actually met our needs and not just met the needs of the people in the high school and the middle school and.
And people who don't live on Fair Street.
Because you say avoid it, I live right on Fair Street, there's no way in God's green earth I'm gonna be able to avoid that. So, and I can tell you already, there's days where we don't get any, cable stuff because they're working on the cable, on that. They said, oh, it's not gonna be an issue, it is an issue. So the reality of it is, we're being put out, and so far I haven't heard anything that said, this is gonna make your life a little bit better.
Well, getting back to the cable, you're getting a higher upgraded
Well,
cable.
yeah,
You know,
which
I,
we'll pay for. Let's just call it what it is. No, nobody does anything for free. So that's not, so it's sidewalks, nobody has an answer about whether we're gonna have to maintain the sidewalks. And there's no, right now, there's no traffic light plan for Fair Street and
We
Hillendale.
have to maintain the sidewalks, I was told.
The answer is
Yes.
yes.
We have to shovel them and we have to make sure they're cut clear.
That's New York State.
Yeah, so we were told that. That's one of the reasons I didn't want it, because I don't want to shovel a sidewalk.
I don't either.
But we have to.
Yeah.
So, that's an issue that should have been, dealt with the people that live there, the homeowners, that was really pushed to the side for us, way back when. And I've been to a lot of the meetings, so I'm totally against shoveling a sidewalk. I'm retired now and I don't wanna shovel my driveway, let alone the sidewalk.
You're also legally liable to
That's right.
something.
That's a town of Carmel issue, as I.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any one from the town of?
Unfortunately, Supervisor, because their town board meeting's tonight, so he couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, anyone from the town of Carmel administration or
The
government
meeting's
here?
tomorrow night.
Yeah, they went in, they
Oh,
didn't show up, they don't care.
Mm, the
So
answer
just
is
to
no.
try to stick to the cards, if you can, Chris is here, if you got more questions, please fill not only because I wanna make sure that you can take on more.
So, I apologize.
It's quite all
I
right.
got a big mouth. I
It's-
can't help it. I'm Irish.
We
This
like
is,
it
look,
when you're at
10, 20,
meetings,
30
so-
years talking about this, there's a lot of feelings and people are gonna be impacted, so we get it. That's why we're trying to do this. Tommy mentioned it, Putnam Valley, anyone that opened up the newspaper over the last couple of years knows that it was a nightmare. You know, you had a town with, roads ripped wide open, bridges open right next to a school. And, when I got in office, we did a similar form like this, and I thought I was gonna get pelted with, tomatoes. Laying expectations, I think, is a lot of what we're trying to do here. Doesn't mean that every answer is gonna be something that everyone likes, but we do wanna be fair in setting expectations. Gloria Maloney has a question.
That would be me.
Okay, yes.
So, I just found out about this meeting at 11 o'clock today.
Mm.
So I would like to know if there's a way that, which should be, at least the residents on Fair Street should be individually notified or something of the meetings. I'm sure there's gonna be multiple meetings about this project, so I had to rearrange my schedule tonight to be here. So I'm not happy about that, that's the last minute I was told about it. So, and I'm well aware of the community, I'm involved with a lot of things, and I still didn't know about this meeting.
Well,
And some other people just found out about it a half hour before, and so it wasn't there wasn't enough notice about tonight's meeting.
I don't know if we have a tool to actually text people directly for things like this, unless it's an emergency, like we have a reverse 911 system or things like that, but traditionally, that's not the mechanism that we've
There's
used.
not a lot of people involved, from Kelly Grid, from Simpson to 52. There's not a lot of homeowners, so maybe a text or something could go out to them, like a robocall. The politicians robocall me all the time. So, a simple robocall saying there's a meeting next month or next week is what I'm asking for.
So I know there's restrictions on what we can do with robocalls, but what I can tell you is what we did do. I know DPW tried to drop off letters in mailboxes, correct? We did a press release about a month ago, several weeks ago. We tried it on social media, we did a countywide email blast. I know that's not all residents, but we got about 600 to 700 employees. So we tried to
Or
do.
maybe the billboard signs in town.
But that's not a bad idea. So that's, completely, I know off topic and I apologize, but I'm gonna mention this because you said it. The billboards right now we're using is to promote that there's a burn ban in place because of the dry conditions everywhere. And the irony is, last time I did something like this in Putnam Valley, half the meeting was about the bridges and the roads, the other half was about the extreme flooding. So, because we had severe damage over there. But that's where those, that would be a good idea, but that was
It'll be over by
very
the
use.
next meeting, I'm sure, so we can use it for that.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Gloria. There's a question from Betsy, and I apologize if I mispronounced it.
Lampensberger.
Thank you. And the question is, what exactly is happening on Fair Street? I feel that we're,
Well,
Answering that, but you can be
basically, with the overview and so far, my main question was answered. So that takes care of that.
thank you, Betsy. I don't know what Tommy can pronounce that one. Frank.
Frank, that's Italian, it's not, if it was Irish, I had a chance. Chianca, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yep, sorry.
you can try to read that. Fair Street closures, total closures, holiday on the lake. Oh, how this is gonna affect holiday on the lake, because if it over close to 10,000 people, large floats. That's a great question. Tommy knows all about that too.
Yeah, we're actually all set up for it. We're gonna, we actually have some, even fencing this time to keep the kids from running into the street, so, not fencing, but safety barriers. We don't see any problem at all this year, and, we'll have to address it next year, but it's not gonna stop the parade. So.
Okay, I guess my question, part of my question was, with that many people coming through town on the 7th of December, and plus all the floats from the Civic Association parade, a lot of them leave out Fair Street. I just want to make sure it's going to be open and accessible for larger vehicles.
Yeah, so the road's gonna be wide open, for December.
Okay,
There'll be no, actually, yeah, there'll be no disruption, you know, just, if they just have to go slow, that's all. There's gonna be road plates and some blacktop, you know, sub-black, you know.
something that just came up, when I saw your posting for this meeting, I put it, I also represent the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association. I put it on the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association Facebook page. I could put it on the website, but in order to, you know, to get that communication out, if you send me anything, I will get it posted right away. And not that the whole community looks at that, but we do have, you know, a couple hundred people that do look at it that I am aware of. So, so that was that. I guess the main thing is I see all these signs with Fair Street detours, but you have no intention of actually closing Fair Street at any point when those culverts are replaced?
So there'll be detours on Fair Street. So there's one where there'll be an extended bridge, essentially, and you go around that, right? Does anyone?
Yeah, There's 3 culverts that will be replaced. Number 1 is the one that's by Waring, it's probably gonna be the first one, and we're building, you can see that there's some dirt going out. That's a little temporary bypass. So we will close off Fair Street, but there'll be 2 lanes going over there, so you'll still be through traffic while we're replacing that. The day we bring in the culvert, we're probably gonna close the road for a short period of time so we can get it off the truck with a crane and put it into place. But we don't plan on having the road closed for any extended period of time. The other 2 culverts are the ones over by De Coloris, and they'll probably be done in the same way, but they're done with closing half the road at a time. We'll have flaggers out there, we have traffic signals we're gonna be putting up, and we'll be, again, trying to keep at least 1 lane of traffic moving at all times. So, but again, like Tommy said, if you can use the detour, use the detour, it's a good detour. Okay, get you around.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Tony Mastrangelo. Tony is the project manager for GMT. So, and Tony lives locally. It's important for him to get done, or he's not welcome home.
We're gonna get back to some questions, but I just realized we'd like to introduce Tom.
I am the project manager on the job. I'm Tony Mastrangelo. As they've referenced, I live in town. My wife teaches at the high school. So I understand the impacts of Fair Street. I drive through town every day, just like all of you. Our company has been in business for nearly 20 years. We do nearly $100 million worth of work a year. We have projects going on here on Fair Street, in Beacon, in Cold Spring, in Tarrytown, 4 projects down New York City, in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, and we do a tremendous amount of work for Con Edison, replacing gas lines and electric conduit throughout Westchester and the 5 boroughs. So we have experience doing this. We did the Fairfield culvert 3 years ago now, right? So we've been working around here. We know what everybody's concerns are. We will try to be as less disruptive as possible, but it is construction, right? So guys are out working every day. We probably have, at peak time, 20, 30 guys working on this job. And the job is being built in stages, so we won't be tearing everything off all at once. Right now, we're working from John Simpson Road to basically the Clores, and we're installing drainage right now. So we're not tearing everything up, we're not removing roadways. We're trying to keep the traffic running as well as we can. But we do have trucks on the road, we have machinery on the road, we have large structures that are catch basins or manholes that are being delivered to the location where we need to put the new drainage in. So yes, it is disruptive. I understand everybody being upset with that, right? But we will try to be out of your way as much as possible, and we'll try to get the job done as quickly as possible, but you also have to understand that this is a 2-year project. We have certain amounts of time where we could work in front of the high school, which is dedicated to when the school is closed. I could only work at the post office during a certain part of the year. So we stay away from those areas until the time when we're actually able to go there and work. And while we can't work there, we're working on other areas of the job. We've gotten a lot done already. Unfortunately, a lot of what we've gotten done isn't something that you see, because it's like the access road back to the detention pond, it's demolition of the existing homes that are out there. We're starting to put the bypass road in for the first box culvert that Zen was speaking about. So, you know, we are moving. We're moving as quickly as we can, and we're trying to do as much work as we can before winter comes in and makes us shut down, because we all know it gets cold up here and it snows up here, and at certain points you just can't work. But, you know, we will do the best we can to stay out of everybody's hair.
Does the S-Bend come out on Fair Street?
Excuse me?
No.
The S-Bend,
No,
that's gonna, it's gonna
stays
remain?
the same.
Would it be why they couldn't hear the question?
The crew that's working there now has been exceptionally nice, I have to
Yeah, they
say.
have.
The women were wonderful, and the guys have been really, really nice guys. So I just wanted to tell
I'll
you
let them know.
that. I tell them to.
Thank you.
Some of these if we call on you and you feel like your question's been answered, just please let us know. Cindy Cole has a question about utilities. Cindy?
Yes, I live off of Kelly Ridge, Everett Road and St. Michael's Terrace, and it's been a freaking nightmare, okay? I go down in the morning to go out, to go to work, and early in the morning, there's trucks all over our roads. I was blocked from getting out of the road, blocked from getting back in our road, because the way they were digging, they dug the hole in one side of the road, then they dug the hole on the other side of the road, and then they took the truck and blocked the road.
And then they said, oh, well.
You know, and I said, what is going on? We can't even get in and out. You know, at least move the truck out of the way. And the thing that bothered me the most is you have all these utility trucks parked on St. Michael's, parked on Kelly Ridge, and we've had water main breaks. You know, our infrastructure there is old in that neighborhood. And, you know, with all the weight of the trucks, you know, and all the weight of the, you know, the construction stuff, it's gonna make our water main break again. You know, it's just, what is being done about that? They shouldn't be parking all over our road. There needs to be another place for them to go. And then, yeah, they almost hit me as well when I was going down the road. So a truck was backing up and he almost backed right into me when I was stopped at the stop sign.
Well,
So, and this is the utilities that I'm
yeah,
talking about.
the good news is the pole Installation has been done. I was just saying before, Crown Castle and Comcast are finishing up their work, and Verizon starts next week. And it should be, it should go fairly quick right now.
Yeah, and
that end
then,
of
of
it.
course, yesterday we were without Wi-Fi, without telephones, without all of that. And our neighborhood, knock on wood, we have never had an outage. But boy, we had it out the other day, and that's because of what they were doing. And they didn't even tell us when it was gonna be fixed, when I called. So I'm just letting you know.
Yep.
Also, utility wants to chime in. We also, I think right next, Alicia Riley.
Hi.
About the environment and the historic nature of Fair Street. No-
Yeah,
no surprise.
Yeah, so my first question is, I'm an environmental science teacher at First Hand, and I really care about the environment, especially the swamp there coming down Fair Street, where the old fairgrounds were, and the historic sign is, that is a historic site. That cannot be touched, and I don't know, I can't really see the plan. I wish we had access to this somewhere else, but we can't really, you can't really touch that, and I don't know if you guys know that. And being the town historian as well myself, Fair Street is historic in itself. A lot of old homes there that are over 200 years old. So I hope you don't plan to knock down any more houses. I hope it was only those two. And second, the environment has already been affected. I checked our carbon levels on Kelly Ridge Road, and they are extremely, extremely, extremely high, to the point where going outside, it affects your breathing, especially if you have asthma. And now the utility company has come through our road, cutting down our trees, even if they're on our property. That's an invasion of privacy also. And back to the historic part of Fair Street, part of the road, I would like to know, with the sidewalks, it also will affect the historic properties and the stone walls that are very important, that served a purpose and still serve a purpose. They tell stories, they hold memories. So I would like to know, where is this side access road going? If there's a way we could get this sent to us, that would be great. I know that not everybody has emails, but I've seen students walk on, from the extra parking lot of the high school up to the high school, or walk through the other side. The sidewalks are a great thing for the center of town. I get that, but not Fair Street. It's going to be very hazardous, and I don't feel that we need a bicycle lane or bike lane either at this point, because it is just very dangerous to students and people that can already get hit. We already have accidents on that road, and we know that. But you also can't straighten the road. The road is the way it is. It is what it is. It's been like that for hundreds of years at this point. So I don't really see the purpose of even sidewalks. And then folks even said here that they don't want to be responsible for it. And with the swamp and the endangered species, I have between Simpson and Hillendale, there's two swamps, and within itself. And then I was curious at past De Colores Court, there to the right, if you were coming up Fair Street from town, I saw all the trucks in there one day too, and we have our water thing right there, and they were putting heavy trucks almost every day on top of it, and that's going to cause another water main break. I don't really know if, my main question is safety out of all of this, and the environment, and the historic properties. How is everything going to be affected? And that's it.
There's a lot to chew on there.
So that's it. Alicia, I know Zen came over, he did graciously said, if you want to come over to the office, happy to show you the various maps and plans, and whatever we can email, we can do that as well. But also the Dill Sanctuary, that's protected parkland. That's something that's preserved within these plans as well. So, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, exactly. And just so you know, like, the plans just don't come from an engineering office. They actually get approved by DOT. The feds look at this, DEP look at this. They all take a peek at this. And like you said, and those two houses are the only two houses.
Okay, and are the trees going to be replaced that were cut down at the bottom of Kelly Ridge and Everett and St. Michael's. There was a bunch of pine and cedar trees, and like over 10 were cut down, and it was actually on somebody's property, that front house there, and they didn't want them cut down in the first place. A crew just came through and cut them down. So all these trees that you're cutting down for these projects, and I've already seen it in that little extra culvert there that I talked about, the water piping, and then our road and the other trees that have been cut down, are they going to be replaced? Because usually environmental laws, you're supposed to stick to them, and the law is the law. So are you going to replace those trees in some form? And what is that going to look like, the agricultural of the land?
There is a big landscaping plan at the end of this, by the way, including the retention ponds, which will actually upgrade the environment in our area. It actually takes all the phosphorus out of the roadway.
That's not helpful.
So there's a lot of landscaping.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, I just, because I want to be respectful of everyone putting in their cards, because then I'm jumping ahead of other people. But we'll do our best, we'll get to you, Miss John Butler,
Yes.
Kelly Ridge, performance bond, why not Berry Lines, timeline. But
I just
you can
wrote some
please,
stuff
that's
down
what it's you,
so
but
I
go
can-
ahead, John.
Pleasure, thank you. 40 years living on Kelly Ridge Road, 30 plus years, following the Fair Street project. First off, just wanted to, and I'm not pandering here, but I want to thank you, and I want to thank our county legislator, Greg Elner, for actually making this project happen. After 3 decades of a project that had been funded, now it's actually being done. With the greatest respect to everyone that's spoken here tonight, because we're neighbors and we're friends, when it comes to the issue of sidewalks, get it, totally understand, except for the fact that myself personally, 40 years of driving on Fair Street, back and forth to the village, I've had at least 3 instances, maybe 4, but for the grace of God, I could have killed 2 teenagers walking from the high school on the S curve. 3 times, 4 times. So I get the sidewalk thing. Sidewalk, we're a country. We want to stay country. We want to be that way. But from the sidewalk point of view, my sole issue is people walking on that road. It's incredibly dangerous. It always has been. It will continue to be. So you know what? I get it. I totally understand. The second issue vis-a-vis the sidewalks in terms of who's responsible for cleaning them, yes, you are. It's a matter of common law. I asked the question before because it's a town issue. Is there anyone from the town of Carmel government here tonight?
No.
Crickets. How surprising. It's just, encompasses 15, probably 1,000 households in the town of Carmel that are impacted by this project. So why should anyone from the town of Carmel be here? Specifically, as a point of reference, the question came up before, rightfully so, about a new potential housing project occurring right at the intersection of Simpson Road and Fair Street. You guys, that's not your purview. That's the town's purview. You guys don't know about it. How is this possible? And that's a big, big project. Hundreds of condominium units, potentially to be constructed right at the intersection of Fair and Simpson. You don't know about it? Where's the communication from the town and the county? It's just unacceptable. I mean, really, think about this for a second. What we're talking about here, and you guys aren't aware of this project that's, by the way, has been in front of the town of Carmel Planning Board for at least a year, perhaps more. Yeah? My question about the project itself, I don't think this is going to be, and God bless your project manager, but mostly because his wife is a teacher in the high school. God bless her. The head of that. But I didn't hear what the timeline is. What have we done?
So the project is estimated for 2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Got it.
We're hoping it's sooner, but that's what's allocated.
Okay, and I'm almost done. All right. I think he's going to push me down the stairs. I have my lawyer in the car, so it's okay, I get it. And finally, my final question is, just, it's a rhetorical one, it's fait accompli. But was it ever considered to bury the electrical lines all the way down Fair Street to Hillendale, since they were burying them up to Vink? Did it ever, and again, it's fait accompli, I know it's done, it's not gonna happen, I'm just thinking conceptually, wouldn't that have been a good idea given everything that we need to do now? And especially from, outages, et cetera? Just a thought, thank you very much.
So I'll give you an answer for that, right? So right now it costs me $2.6 million a mile to bury lines. Right?
Okay,
You guys are all ratepayers. I'm a ratepayer of NYSEG.
right,
This is a county project that has state funding. That wasn't included in it.
and federal.
And federal. So if we did that portion of line, it would be pushed onto you guys to, which I understand, I pay the same rates you do. You would raise your rates, I heard the complaints when the rates were raised, $2.6 million a mile is what the cost is.
Okay, so this project's about a mile long, so it'd have been an additional $2.6 million.
Yeah. About
What we do, I mean, who cares? I mean, really, when you get down to it.
Yeah, and then when the
Anyway,
rates.
thank you very
when
much.
the rates raise,
I appreciate it.
you got
Sorry
it.
about that.
No
There you
problem.
go.
Okay, so the stack of cards and questions is piling up. Sorry, when people don't put their names on, we'll get to it, but it goes in the back. So, because I don't know who I'm calling on. Robert Rivera, how long is the estimated timeline for the project beginning to end? I think we just discussed that, but Robert, did I miss it? Rob? Is there any other, was that question just answered, correct? You feel like we just went
The
through it?
allocated time is 2
The other
years.
question hitched to that is basically, is there any night work that might be done?
At
But
this
that's
point,
gonna
no.
make, pretty disruptive. And what's the timeline daily? From what time to what time do they start work and complete work?
Generally, our work hours are 7 in the morning to 4 at night. We do not anticipate working at night unless there is an emergency.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Robert. We have, looks like Charlie Cole. May I make a comment about sidewalks?
I just wanted to make a comment on the sidewalks. I live up on the main street in Carmel. There is a town ordinance that the sidewalks have to be cleared within 24 hours when it snows. And also, each homeowner is responsible for the sidewalk that's in front of their house. And if the sidewalk is damaged in any way, it's the homeowner that's responsible for getting it repaired. So, just to answer any questions that people might have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
And that is with the town, just to,
Emily Silva, and again, I apologize if I mispronounced the name, was the purpose of the sidewalks.
What's the purpose of the sidewalk? For safety reasons?
Safety, yeah.
Okay, and where do they
Mo-
begin?
sorry,
And where do they begin?
it's gonna go from Hillendale all the way to 52 and
then
repaired up.
You have buildings coming in for centennials, and the sidewalks meet where?
No,
where-
it's on the west side of Hillendale, all the way to 52.
Is there 2 sidewalks or?
Only one until you get up to the high school where it's 2 now. They'll be repaired.
On the other side.
It's only one side, the north side, so the Kings Grant side, the whole way up.
And the S-Bend stays.
That's Ben stays. It's also, you're getting, like I said before, the 14-foot lanes are huge. John, to your point before, I can't tell you how many times there's people walking on there all the time right now. It's extremely dangerous right now. Almost every federally funded job, project right now, they're tying sidewalks into almost everything we do. So if you're reading about money coming in, it's almost a guarantee there's gonna be a sidewalk attached to it. They want people to be able to walk to jobs, walk to, it's gonna be tied to everything you do right now.
What's the speed limit on that road right now?
30.
30, and it's gonna remain 30?
Yeah, it's good. Again, it's gonna be 28 feet wide as opposed to 20.
That's
It's
why
a
I
huge
think that
difference.
people are gonna be up in there.
Well,
acceleration of it.
you talked about the S-turn. It's probably a good reason not to take out the S-turn. You know, if you made that a straight line, it'd be 55 miles an hour.
They race that at night. They race that
Yeah, you
at
hear it
night.
at
night.
You hear it at night.
Yeah.
Going up and down, they think that's a little racetrack.
Thank you, Emily, and just so, I asked Chris to walk around with a microphone, I know, if you don't need it. It is so, we have neighbors that are listening later on, it can get picked up and then they can listen to your question, but, you know, whatever you're comfortable with.
Is there gonna be a bike path, or the bikers are sharing the sidewalk?
No, your car lane is gonna be in, you know, 4 feet essentially. So you'll have that space, just like you see, you know, Route 100 or the
Or
different routes.
301s?
301 isn't on your shoulder, yeah, no.
It's gonna be like 301. We're gonna be driving and there's gonna be bikers.
There already are.
Already are.
But only
I
a
live off
little
6th
bigger.
Avenue.
Now they have the electric bikes, the kids with the electric bikes.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
Crazy.
What about the fire department? Because I'm part of that too, and if there's an emergency, are they allowed to go through, or do they have to adjust to the?
yeah, I mean, the flaggers are all trained, they're all certified, they're all local 60, which is right here in Brewster.
The other night,
Phenomenal
they let them
people.
right through.
They'll let them right through, they'll stop everything and let them right through.
So, I got another question, I know we're getting more coming in, but I got one from Gloria again, plans on getting rid of the bump going into
Glenna.
from
So
Fair
Glenna
Street.
Drive, is attached to Fair Street, when you make the turn to go into Glenna, there's a giant bump. Your whole car goes in and out. Years ago, they fixed it, and then the county or the town came back and did something, and now it's the same thing. So the people on that road asked me to ask that question.
Yeah, that'll all be improved.
So that'll all be fixed?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now these are the questions I don't have names for.
Oh, what?
Not good.
Will,
He said, what do you need?
I just don't know who to call on, because they're on top of the card, that's all, so now it's hard to read it.
Well, Vigo Plaza will be affected, that's the one where Bliss is that what we're talking about?
Wanko Plaza, sorry.
Oh, okay,
Wanko Plaza.
up top, thank you. Yeah, no, not the plaza itself, you know, sidewalks will be improved, that's it. And you should,
The entrance is gonna, will still stay the same.
yes,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Thank you. Will it affect weekend?
No, right now, there's no plans for weekends. Again, Frank, that gets to your question before, you know, for any kind of festival, something going on in the weekend. The road should be open unless it's something unforeseen.
Question, will you be using the property in Kinko's? No, never mind.
Grant.
King's Grant, that makes a lot more sense. Using the property in King's Grant.
No, that'll just get the sidewalk in front and improvement.
Because you acquired property a while back from King's Grant.
That's for the,
It
again,
was
that's,
down, it was gonna go down, and we were told that you were gonna put trucks there or something, I don't know.
no, that was,
Acquired that property.
there was a couple iterations of the plan, so that, you know, that's not the plan right now.
You're not
No.
gonna use that property
No.
at all?
No, it'll just be sidewalk and utilities will
Great.
move back.
Okay, that's fine, I was just wondering about the other property, because I lived right down where it was.
No, yep,
So it's
All right,
on the King's
thank you.
Grant side?
yes,
Okay, the sidewalk.
yep.
And another question, Gloria, what are the ideas for lights on the sidewalk? So I think you mentioned it, Tommy.
Yeah, I believe the lighting is very similar to 52, the black lights with the, you know, the ornate looking lighting.
So are they going all the way down to,
No,
okay, so
No.
where do they stop?
Vink,
On Vic?
yep.
Okay, so the rest of, so pretty much the entire job won't be lit?
You're gonna have street lighting from the NYSEG poles, I believe, so.
Okay.
Just won't be ornate type, it'll be lit, just not
So
ornate.
the last meeting, I was told that they were gonna follow that down to Hill and Dale, the lights. Those
No,
black lights.
It's lit, but it's not gonna be the ornate ones,
Right,
that's all.
okay.
So I ran out of cards. I don't know if that means there's no more questions. I have a feeling it doesn't mean that. So I'm just gonna ask, if you can raise your hand if you have other questions. Chris is gonna get to you. This gentleman, only because you haven't been able to ask a question yet, sir.
Yeah, are you gonna have crosswalks?
Crosswalks.
Yes, there's crosswalks by the schools, by the post office, they'll be enhanced, obviously, and ADA.
And what about by Kelly Ridge or down by Simpson?
We'll look right now.
By Kelly Ridge, it's not on these plans.
By Kelly Ridge going across to the sidewalk.
So Kelly Ridge will have a crosswalk?
Yeah,
And what about down by Simpson?
no. Since it stops at Hillendale, the sidewalk.
Oh.
So I had a question. How are they going to be digging any more holes at the base of Kelly Ridge, Everett, and St. Michael's? That's my question. Where they'll just block off the road with no warning and say, "Oh well, that's what they said the last time, and we couldn't get out." Is that going to happen again?
You're going to be dealing with GNPF from here on in for there, and you're going to be seeing somebody you can talk to that day. But right, there's no, is there? There's two structures there, right?
They've already dug like 10 holes, so I'm just curious if they're done by now.
Yeah, there's a huge
Yeah.
We're
So-
all Cedars, what she's talking about, that's,
If you, honestly, if you want to come in, like Zen said, come in one day, we can go through that with you.
Okay.
You
And
know.
can you provide better signage for the steel plates? Because going down towards Simpson Road the other day, there was no signage except like 2 orange cones. It wasn't very obvious that steel plates were there. In the dark, can you make it more obvious and put more signage up? That would be great.
John?
So, at the intersection of Kelly Ridge Road and Fair Street, on the left side, there's that blind curve where those trees were taken down. Is that gonna be flattened out or eliminated, that blind curve? Because I tell you, as a parent, going 1,000 years ago, thinking of my 17-year-old driving the car onto Fair Street, and on the left side, it's totally blind. It's really a dash of death. You know, you gotta get out there and hope to God someone's not coming around the curve. So is that curve gonna be somehow remediated or?
Yeah, so that whole
eliminated,
slope gets cut back there.
It's gonna get cut
Yeah.
back? So you have a line of sight?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
is that house itself where all those trees were cut down, that was bought by the town, correct?
No.
County.
The county. So the county owns
No.
that house?
No.
And then
No.
they're gonna,
No.
Not the house, just the easement in front of it.
so I was told by the town that the county owns that house now. After the project was done, they were gonna put that house back up on the market.
Unless they came off their tax roll, we've got nothing to do with the project.
Okay.
The town and the county don't talk to each other. We know that.
We
That's
actually do,
another
but
information.
So what do you own, what is the county own?
basically, you're right away.
The hill
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay, where all those trees were cut down?
Right.
Okay, so the house is still owned by the bank then, according to you?
No, that's-
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the project.
Nobody lives in that house,
Is
it's
it in
abandoned.
foreclosure?
Yeah, it's been foreclosed for
I believe I
years.
built a deck on that
Maybe I'll-
30 years ago. Yeah, that's got nothing to do with the project.
On that same issue, I live on St. Michael's. I'm thrilled those trees are gone because it improves the sight. When you're coming down to that stop sign, and as someone just said, that's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. Cars come around that turn, probably doing 55, and if you're halfway in the intersection, you have to gun it to get out of their way. So the more sight you have there, the better. Even a turning lane would be better.
I'm not gonna speak for Tony, but I'm guessing, like, once they start doing the structural stuff down there, that'll probably be in,
Yeah, I mean, there's no turning lane there, but
Right.
we're gonna be cutting that bank back.
Yes.
And that hill will be cut down, so you definitely have to cut the line of sight.
So is the hill going up Fair Street gonna be cut down at all? Because when you come down Fair Street, if somebody stops to turn in, it's happened where they have literally come across our lawn into our driveway, not to hit that car that was turning. Because that's where I am and my neighbor, so, because you can't see once you come down that hill.
again, you are gonna have more width for corrections if people are not paying attention. You know, there's gonna be a little more luxury of more width in the road for people to get around. And if somebody's making a left turn and they're on the yellow line, you will be able to get around with a car.
We have another question.
Oh, it shifts, it actually straightens right there a little bit.
I'll say too, I appreciate when doing the cards, everyone's being very respectful, I appreciate it, so if there's questions and you raise your hand, we'll try to do that. If you want to jump the line, fill out a card.
All right, just a quick question, and it's about the utilities. Is there any way we could be notified when you interrupt the utilities, because that's happened a couple of times already?
For electric or?
Cable, electric? Yeah, I mean, internet is, in this day and age, is no longer, a luxury, it's a necessity, so,
So you should have been notified by electric, but it's beyond that now, right? There won't be an interruption. That's done.
we should have, but we weren't, so.
I will follow up on that.
I was notified, they told me that I was gonna have interruptions that day, the guys came and told me. And, then they told me in a few hours, and it all worked out fine for me.
Well, that's great to hear.
They did.
I worked for you.
Just saying,
I
they've
just
been so
have a
nice to
comment
me.
about what was mentioned on Glenna Drive and that hump that's there. When that was put in many, many years ago, it was very helpful if we had, of course you couldn't say that now, but if we had a torrential rainstorm, the water comes down the road, and it would go straight into Glenna Drive. As it is, I live in 3 houses in, and between the water coming from Hill and Dale up the mountain, it gathers in front of my house and the house next door. And we have had flooding galore. There's a stream that goes across, and it's usually backed up with weeds and debris from stuff that rolls down. So that was very helpful years gone by to keep that safe from anything just rushing into Glenna Drive.
So now we know who put the bump back.
I had nothing, I don't know who did it, but.
No, the good news is,
St. Michael's
this,
Brook.
the design here is taking the water away from, majority of the water is gonna be removed from the road before it gets down there now. So it's that retention pond, and that's where a lot of water is gonna be collected and sent off to. So,
I hope it isn't straight flat, that's all I have to say.
Where's the retention pond? No smell?
no. Good place to see, watch birds. It's behind Windwater.
So that's why you cut down the trees there?
Yeah. You need access. We still, per the DEP, we still have to maintain it. So we'll have to go in and make sure saplings don't eat away at the berms and things like that, so it remains retention pond.
But it's not affecting backing into those sanctuary, correct?
It's not in the sanctuary. There was a piece of property bought from a private entity, so.
Oh God, it's me again. Make this guy go home. So just not to be Debbie Downer here, but going back to the Peekskill Hollow project, the still, I think, up in the air incompletion of the bike path, from Brewster to do we have, and again, no disrespect to our project manager over there, but do we have the appropriate bonding in place in the incredibly unlikely, if not impossible, event that our contractor partners are unable to fulfill their obligations under the contract?
Yes.
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 And John Tully
Good
here
answer.
from our Central Services.
Yes, we do.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I should. We did have I know there's questions about emergency services. Our commissioner of our Bureau of Emergency Services was in the back. He's coming back and forth between 911 Center, Bob Lipton, but we also have our Commissioner of General Services that handles all of our procurement, and there's obviously strict procurement guidelines we have to go through with a project of this size, especially when it has federal and state funding.
Thank you.
Okay. On that, this is, what time is it now? 7:10. I don't want to say it because there's no other questions. I know we'll start to wrap this up. Not every answer that we're going to give you might be one that you like. I think the important thing to recognize, at least from my perspective, is this is something that's been talked about for a very long time. A lot of the public hearings actually predated my time as county executive when there was public input. I believe after 2019, that hearing, they actually amended some of the plans that actually increased the cost for the project. So we're at a point as a county that we're moving forward. And to the best of the best of our ability, we want to set those expectations early. We want to be able to communicate and that was the big lesson learned, I think, over in Putnam Valley. This project is even larger, and it is more disruptive based on the location. But I want to thank you for all your participation, your questions, your comments. Just because this infrastructure project is one, doesn't mean it doesn't preclude other projects in the future. We are, oh, thank you, Chris, yes. So, no one asked, well, there was a question about communication, right? Best thing is, where can you learn more? Obviously, I'm not gonna give out Tommy's cell phone, I'm sorry. But you can call our Department of Public Works. But you also can go to this website that was completely revamped this past year. And quite frankly, it was pulling on my experience in the state assembly with state DOT. A lot of folks like to dig at state DOT, but they also had a pretty impressive projects portal where it would give you an update on all the county projects or the state projects. It has a red light, green light, yellow light, feature to let you know when there's projected delays, when there's disruptions. So that's what this is for, and this is what Commissioner Fury was alluding to earlier, as far as it being updated bi-weekly, right?
Bi-weekly on big projects, and then if there's emergency projects, it'll be on there immediately. So for any full road closure, one lane, but basically your bigger projects will be bi-monthly, as far as the updates.
We also have the 511 map embedded within our website too, where you can check on real-time road closures and extended closures as well, so it's actually.
Bi-weekly. So just to clarify, bi-weekly,
Yeah.
not every other
Once a
month,
sorry.
every other week. So yeah, because bi-monthly, so it's twice in 1 month, so bi-weekly, yes.
Along that.
So, and in some cases, we try to even strive to do more, but I don't want to overcommit and say it's every week. But when they're at the height of construction season, we do try to do more to communicate. But this is the first stop to go to. Is I really encourage you to use this tool. It has helped us a lot in other towns.
Yeah, and if there is an emergency, this is a great place to find what's going on too. So.
Right. Well, thank you for your time, and I look forward to this being completed. Take care, everybody.